ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sniper, signing in to Command & Conquer Red Alert 3, joined by GBH Michael. How you doing today, Michael?
Really, really good, thanks. So this game we have the Cyan Allies player on the left of the map. It is Yui.
And his opponent spawning as the yellow Empire player, it is Dimon.
So Dimon, not playing Soviets. He's bringing out the Empire today.
I mean, hey, I hear his Empire is pretty good. We'll have to see.
Yeah, he's always going on about how his Empire plays just as good as his Soviets sometimes. Not really a huge fan of his allies apparently, but his Empire is pretty good from what I've seen. So from what I've heard, even I haven't seen his Empire ever really, but I'm sure he's gonna have to be a top level Empire player if he's gonna have any chance of beating Yui today.
Indeed. Dimon opening up with that very standard type of 3 dojos. 1 dojo down in the main base to start producing your burst drone and your Imperial warriors to challenge the center of the map. The second dojo deploys near your oil derrick to capture the derrick, and the third is the crush core. The crush core micro can be very, very deadly, especially against balls of PKs. If one crush core gets a little too close, even if it gets taken out, that honorable discharge can wreak absolute havoc with allied lines and allow the Imperial warriors to claim a victory that otherwise should not have been theirs.
Yeah, and it looks like Yui, he's responded to the mass start out with the infantry with some early riptides, gone for the second refinery and moved straight to the expansion. So he looks to be in pretty decent shape to start with. He's just going for early economy and just trying to secure his position in the game, while at the same time Dimon getting his mecha bay up and looking to potentially move it into some. Actually, he's going for tier 2 by the looks of it. So he's not actually going for Tengus at this point.
That is very interesting indeed. Most Empire players generally open up with a great deal of Tengu spam, but also usually they're up against, if they're ever up against an Allies player that opens with an airfield, then maybe Tengu spam is a little more warranted. But since there's no early airfield, and since we're seeing multiple Riptide ACVs here and the non-sell-off of the seaport, that would warrant an upgrade to T2. Maybe get your hands on some Chopper VXs or some Tsunami tanks to adequately counter the mass Riptides.
Yeah, we saw a couple of burst drones come out to take off one of the Riptides out of Yu. Yeah, so nice play out of him. But there is actually still one pesky burst drone on one of the collectors which hasn't been dealt with yet. So that's going to give Dimon all the useful scouting information he needs for at least the near future.
Indeed, spotting the timing of that airfield, that's going to be very important indeed. But Yui is a little bit ahead of Dimon on that third ref, as that third ref out on the water has been down for quite some time. Around 45 seconds or so will be the advantaged number between Dimon's ref getting down and actually finishing. So Yui going to be claiming a little bit of an eco lead. We'll have to see if he can capitalize on it.
Yeah, that's generally, if players want to go for an economic start with allies, they can usually afford to go for an expansion on low power, and that's exactly what he did here. He went for the expansion into the water on low power, then got his next power plant before going into any other production structure with the airfield there. So 2 Chopper VXs are out on the field now. They could potentially poke forward and do a little bit of damage to the oil derrick if they wanted to, but most likely just going to be just defending his own base for now.
Indeed,
this is That's the naval yard core coming out of Dimon here, so he's actually looking to do a little bit of pressure to the water refinery of Yui here.
We'll have to see just how much use that Dimon can make of the Imperial Navy. The Imperial Navy is a force to be reckoned with, absolutely. And he comboed that off with what looks to be the start of the Imperial Air Force between the Jet Tengus and the Chopper and or Striker VXs. Imperial Air Force comboed off with some nice naval harassment. It can actually give the Allied Air Force a real run for its money.
Yes, and it looks like Yui actually went for a fast 4th refinery as well. He's definitely looking to boom his economy straight from the offset of this game. But unfortunately, this does mean he's left his water refinery completely undefended. Selling off the naval yard does mean that Yari mini-subs can go across the map and do devastating amounts of damage.
Oh, that's going to be one Apollo fighter down. Air engagement happening on the bottom right side of the map. The second Apollo fighter looks like it will be able to get away from those Tengus. Trading 1 Tengu for 1 Apollo fighter, I think Dimon will be happy with that trade any day of the week.
Definitely. And there is, in the meantime, a Yari sub in the naval refinery of Yui here. Will it get the final voyage damage off? No, it won't. But that was a lot of damage. That was a lot of damage to that refinery they did there.
You know, you wouldn't think that such a small sub can do such a large amount of damage from a direct impact like that. But, you know.
Yeah, it's the honorable discharge that does the damage with final voyage. It makes a huge difference.
All the Vindicators, they might be getting picked up by the Tengus. Both of them go down.
2 of them go down.
Oh, that's a major miss micro right there. Now, these Riptide ACVs are wide open. The Tengus have the Apollo fighters cut off. He's retreating back to the safety of the multi-gunner IFVs, but those Chopper VXs, they're going to make short work of those Riptide ACVs. Now, the Apollo fighters are able to get into the repair zone of that airfield since the Mecha Tengus went back on the ground, but that does mean they could possibly start to overwhelm the ground forces of Yui just a little bit. But 2 Guardian tanks show up, and looks like they are going to be able to chase them off.
Oh, those point defense ones were at a great time. They were put down right at the perfect time and just managed to save a lot of those units there. But at the same time, Yui has lost a lot of units in this engagement.
Oh, those Apollo fighters, no! Oh, they had such little health, but they still chose to engage, and the Tengu swooped right back in and took them both out. That's a lot of aircraft going down for Yui. And I'm not an allied player myself, but I cannot imagine losing that many aircraft this early in the game can be a good thing.
Yeah, and it looks like Yui's realised this. He realised how much of bad shape he's currently in at the moment. He's taking the transition straight into a mass infantry, getting the 2 barracks up in the front line. Lots and lots of javelin troopers taking getting a lot of damage done on these Tengus here. But at the same time, lots of Tengus still around the back of Yui's base, looking to get some damage done, but there isn't really much that they can do at this point. At the same time, a huge army pushing forward through the centre of the map, huge swell of units, huge clump of infantry, and they are looking for blood.
They're looking for blood, and there's not very much here to stop them. I think that unless a miracle unit starts coming out of this mecha bay, this refinery up on the cliff is basically as good as gone. The Tengus have transformed back into jet mode and are trying to head home, but there is this massive push coming out from Yui, and the mecha bay is going to get camped, and it's going to go down.
Yeah, this is looking very dire for Dimon at the moment. So many units go into his main base, picking off the mecha bay. That is a huge deal, but at the same time, he's trying to transition into a double dojo right at the top right of the map, looking to get some infantry out and looking to do whatever he can to defend this push.
Yes, indeed. Double dojo from the Empire. Never underestimate the Imperial Infantry, especially when you have no aircraft of your own. The biggest weakness of the Imperial Infantry, they have no T1 anti-air units, just as the Allies have the Javelin Trooper and the Soviets have the Flag Trooper. But that means this Imperial Infantry, a clump of Imperial warriors, oh, you're not paying attention for 1-2 seconds and suddenly your infantry clump will go down very quickly.
Yeah, one of the refineries from Dimon has gone down, another one looking to fall very quickly as well, but at the same time there are a bunch of Tengus and a single VX around the back of Yui's base, looking to potentially get some damage done, maybe looking to poke in and get some harassment in on these collectors, but not actually deciding to drop. Actually, going in now, one goes instantly down, and actually they might be able to pick off this small contingency force the Allies play here. If they can, they might be able to get in some harassment.
I think they very well could. If there was only one Guardian tank here, then possibly even overwhelm the tank as well. But this Chopper VX, if that multi-unit IFV gets taken out, that Chopper VX has the potential to do some serious harassment damage right now. But it looks like but comboed off with an MCV push to try and repel these invading forces, the Imperial Infantry will be enough to force Yui's forces back up on the cliff and force the retreat.
But he's taken a lot of damage in the meantime. 2 of his refineries have gone down. His economy has halved because of that big push out of Yui there. So he's going to be in some serious trouble with his economy. And if he's going to
Guardian tank
try and get back into the game.
Guardian tank turned around at the worst possible time and got just absolutely slagged by those tank busters. Every last unit is very much so important, especially whenever you're going to defend an attack. However, with an airfield back online, I would not be shocked whatsoever if we saw maybe at least one Vindicator coming out just to kind of help with the stop micro against Imperial Infantry, as this push looks like it's going to get cleaned up rather easily. Perhaps another infantry push could show up in the future.
Yeah, it looks like Dimon's overcommitting with his units here. He's taking a lot of losses, picking up a couple of tanks and the odd Javelin Trooper, but At what cost? He's lost all of his infantry, and to be honest, that's his really only. That's all of his defense gone. There's nothing stopping Yui from pushing across the center of the map and doing the exact same thing again. But at the same time, Dimon has a bunch of Tengus dropping in the main base refineries of Yui, killing a collector and just forcing another one off the line, doing a lot of damage to the refinery as well. So he's looking to potentially move back into the economy game.
That eco-harass coming out from Dimon was actually very, very nice, using his infantry as a bit of a scapegoat distraction so that Yui would be paying less attention to the fact that his economy was getting harassed. And right now, only one of his collectors back home is still working, only just now starting to rebuild the second one. I think Dimon was anticipating that second prospector to be rebuilt actually right on time. And so he went ahead and moved the Tengus back to see if he can get some instant harass back off on that. However, unfortunately for him, that prospector was just a little bit delayed.
And at the same time, Dimon has recovered his economy back up to the four refinery setup that he was on beforehand, and now looking to just go into his production as normal again. So at the moment, Dimon's economy is in a little bit better shape than Yui's, but as soon as this new refinery gets rebuilt, they'll be on level footing again.
Yes, indeed, and we have the little Tengu that could, trying to take on 2 Apollo fighters all by his lonesome. But 3 Apollo fighters versus 4 Tengus, I do not think that's a trade that Dimon wants to be taking, but he is able to get the cryocopter. That is a very good catch for him right now. Will there be another one? I don't see another one. Another one just got
That was, I think, 4 Tengus. 4 Tengus for 1 cryocopter, but saving the refinery, was it worth it?
Possibly. Will that cryo get to be enough to freeze the Mecha Bay? No, it will not.
I don't think it is, you know.
Generator goes down,
I think you need a little bit more.
As well. Yes.
Oh, but the cryocopter comes in. That should do the job.
With the cryocopter coming in, and there's Apollo fighters sitting right there. Is a heroic Apollo fighter sitting right on top of that Mecha Bay. Those Tengus can't do anything. Dimon has got one option right now, and that is to just spam out as many defender cores as he possibly can and just hope he gets enough AA to chase them away.
That's exactly what he's doing. He's got lots and lots of turrets, 2 on the front line, 1 next to his Mecha Bay, looking to get even more. This is a 5th coming out now. He's getting a lot of turrets just to hopefully try and hold on and keep this Mecha Bay alive for as long as possible. At the same time, with a bunch of infantry pushing through the center of the map again, looking to see and distract the army and the attention of Yu away so he can actually stabilize in the main base.
Yes, that Mecha Bay did wind up going down, unfortunately, but in the meantime, Imperial Infantry push round 2 is rocking up to Yui's base, taking out a lot of structures up here. Power plant, armor facility, barracks, multi-unit turret, all going down. Guardian tank going down as well. Maybe these tank busters, let's see if they can get in range of this prospector. There are 2 cryocopters overhead, so that will be slowing them down pretty hard. But it looks like the airfield did go down as well, so that Vindicator actually can't land right now.
Yeah, I think the best way to deal with this would just be to sell off that power plant and use the peacekeeper you get from it in conjunction with these cryocopters and look to kill them off that way. But maybe he's going to be able to hold along with his turret.
And we have the surprise support power, the underdog no one ever sees. It is the final squadron coming in, gonna do some damage, actually knocking Yui to that low power state with that last power plant being killed. However, that is very quickly rectified. And that Vindicator, that's an elite Vindicator that just burned up.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, that's not good.
Oh, that's not good for Yui there. But actually, at the same time, Dimon getting his 5th refinery up. Going to send it around the bottom to the water. 5 refineries with an Empire player on this map. Not something that you see that frequently, to be honest. Especially not with a huge Tengu spam.
Absolutely, but how easy is that refinery going to be for Dimon to defend, though?
It's going to be very difficult.
If Navy starts showing up again out of a seaport from Yui, especially now it's being spotted, that is one heroic Apollo fighter. Will it be able to win against 3v1 odds against those Tengus? I don't know if it will or not. Taking some needless anti-aircraft fire, but it does return to base all a-okay. But Dimon does rebuild that Imperial docks after selling it off earlier in the game, so perhaps this maybe now, with the imminent danger of Yui's army not being present, he can actually get some good harassment off, or he can continue the harassment that he started earlier and see how much damage he can actually get done.
So 2 cryocopters are looking to instantly pick off this refinery as soon as it's built, with the defense of 3 Apollos, and if this is enough, this refinery is going to be absolutely forfeit straight away, and it's going to be a complete waste of money. And if he even manages to pick this up, I don't see a Vindicator out. So I don't know if there's actually anything to pick this off with.
I do not think that there is a Vindicator out right now. However, I believe there is a Riptide ACV. Yes, there is, rallied in that direction. I'm going to see about taking that out. There are 7 Tengus back in the main base, which could show up and try and snipe down that Cryocopter very quickly. Could very well pull it off. However, it looks like Yari Minisub circumventing that multi-gunner turret that's on Yui's Naval Refinery.
Yeah.
You need more than a multi-gunner turret there.
Very slowly he's managing to damage this collector, but it's going to take a little bit more than that.
Yes, indeed, it will. Gonna get right on into that the collection line and go straight for that last voyage. Insta-killing that Prospector. Just a little bit of annoyance for Yui. However, he does get right on rebuilding it.
So there is a Riptide at the top of the map looking to get some harassment in the water refinery of Dimon here. But Dimon is prepared. He has a turret next to it, so if Yui's not paying attention, it could just fall easy prey to the turret. You don't have to pay attention to this. In the meantime, lots and lots of Tengus take the skies with point defense drones, looking to defend his naval refinery if the turret doesn't do the job.
Point defense drones making an absolute difference for Empire players everywhere. Point defense drones give them just that much extra little bit of health that they really need to take on Apollo fighters. And with the Apollo fighter standing that Yui has right now, he needs every little bit of an advantage that he can get. Yari Minisub still going at it, gonna be doing more damage to this naval refinery, seeing what kind of damage they can get done. Is that collector gonna go down? Yes, it does. And the last voyage on top of the heroic Riptide, so let's scratch one more heroic unit. And the air engagement, the heroic Apollo fighter goes down right away, and they all go down.
And that's the entire air army of Yui gone. Nothing to defend these Cryocopters. One of them goes down. 2 of them go down. Oh, and the third one goes down as well. That is not very good for Yui. And he flies straight back out.
A little bit of a meat grinder there at the end for the Tengus, but getting 3 Apollo fighters, one of them being heroic, and then 3 Cryocopters on top of that, that is a very much a good trade, knocking the Allied Air Force down several notches right there. And with this impending attack from Yui's now tier 3 army, that is going to make a very critical difference, not having quite as much air power at their disposal.
Yeah, having the ability to shrink all these Tengus and use the freeze ability from these Cryocopters is huge, and not having that, it's really going to diminish the power of this army here.
And Yui did wind up grabbing the naval ref on Dimon's side of the map, and I believe he has that free trade upgrade as well, as each collector is now, or each prospector is now bringing in 312 ore per load instead of the standard 250. More naval harass on Yui's naval expansion back home. He can't catch a break here. The Yari subs just keep coming back.
The infantry pushing through the center. Lots and lots of the infantry out of the Allies player are falling easy prey to these Imperial warriors, and they do leave the Athena cannons completely undefended. It does look they've been fended back for now, but that was a lot of damage taken.
That is a number of heroic Imperial warriors, and oh no, one Cryocopter goes down to a single Tengu. That didn't need to happen. One single Tengu is usually not supposed to be able to kill and a Cryocopter like that. But I think this is a little bit of a mistake out of Dimon. The Athena cannons are just over to the right here with virtually no anti-air. There's a little bit of a pocket that those choppers could have just slipped into and taken out a lot of 1, 2, maybe even 3 of those Athena cannons. But instead, will he get the Apollo fighter? Actually, yes, he does. But only after losing
There was actually a Tengu in the main base one of the main base refineries of Yu. They're just delaying the mining for a little bit as well. And at the same time, the refinery in the northern position in the water out of Yu had fallen prey to some Tengus. So that does give, once again, the economic lead to Dimon.
I'll give you one guess what's showing up at Yui's naval refinery again.
Oh. Do you see that? Do you see what's in the main base of Dimon here? Tier 3.
Oh,
I have a feeling we're going to see some Shoguns.
Oh boy. Bring out the Shoguns.
Bring
out the pride of the Imperial Navy. Make me happy.
Shoguns mixed together with these Tengus for all the anti-air that he needs. That is going to be a serious force to be reckoned with. That is going to be some serious firepower, and it's going to be very difficult for Yui to find a way to deal with that.
Very much indeed. Having those Shogun battleships out on the map with the Tengu air coverage as well, it's just absolutely powerful. So much power behind them.
And Dimon just finding little like points to poke in. Oh, this naval refinery, and does actually manage to force a third turret out of you, forcing him to low power, and meaning he has to sell off the refinery to keep this naval expansion alive.
Final squadron there did actually force the sell-off of that refinery, I believe, but it is replaced very quickly there for Yui. But the naval ref, the 5th naval ref for Dimon did wind up getting taken out by Athena cannons. It did render one heroic Athena cannon. We'll have to see how much damage that heroic unit can do. But the Tengu Swarm is actually focusing down one of the refs in the main base
Same time.
of Yui.
Tank Buster Surprise is distracting him in his high ground on the high ground expansion there. Manages to take out a power plant and distract him with a few of his units, meaning that his Tengus could actually do the damage that they needed to.
Yes, indeed.
So that was a very nice move out of Yui.
One of the biggest keys to playing the Empire is just harass, harass, harass. Divide your opponent's attention as much as physically possible.
Whoa!
Is that what I think it is? Oh boy.
That is a decimator kill.
Oh, this is happening. Okay, well.
And I really like the position of this as well, putting it in the water. Right now, if he's going to have Shoguns to defend it and Tengus to defend it, it's going to be like no real way of Yui to take this out. It's going to be it's like the perfect position for it.
So Dimon survives the Allied mid-game push, survives the T3 push, gets great engagements in the air. Now we see Shogun battleships as we have a tier 3 docks now completely researched and a psionic decimator out on the map all at once. Yeah, I've seen it all.
And that's not all we see.
Now.
We see a huge army. In the main base of Yui. Huge clump of Tengus, huge clump of VXs pick off a very early Athena cannon, and will look like they're going to pick off a refinery as well, maybe running away. Okay, they've just managed to pick it off. So it's a refinery gone down for the cost of, I think, a single Tengu. That is definitely a trade that he would take any day.
Yes, indeed. He needs to be careful with these Apollo fighters getting too greedy. Oh, that's one Apollo fighter just slapped right out of the sky. That many Tengus, you need more than just Apollo fighters to fight them. I see 1, 2, 3 hero Tengus in there. And a couple others with some ranks on them as well. No, 4 hero Tengus. And they're actually just going to go. They're going to land straight on top of this naval refinery in the back for Yui and on top of its turrets and just see what kind of damage they can get done. How many prospectors do you think Yui has lost out here on the water? Due just to the constant harassment from Dimon.
Lots of them, but at the same time, Yui starting to push in, realizing he has to get some damage done. But all the infantry come in out of Yui, out of Dimon.
The balloon bombs are lowering the shields, and the final squadron's going to hit.
Oh, that was an excellent move out of Dimon there.
That was a lot of splash damage, and I think this may be very well getting close to be GG here.
And there is the Shogun.
The Shogun's now
out.
The
Shogun is out on the field.
All the Tengus are retreating now. Looks like all 4, or at least 4 of them, 4 of the hero Tengus are still alive. Doesn't need to be getting this Shogun shot up by the multi-gunner turret, and also could be turning that surgical strike coming down on top of the Shogun battleship, just trying to get a little bit of damage done to it there. But does need to be a little careful with the Shogun battleship, as multi-gunner turrets will inevitably wear it down. It's just, even with the fortified fleet upgrade, it is still a little bit of a fragile unit.
Yui just managing to rebuild his 3rd refinery versus the 5 refinery setup out of Dimon. Dimon is in great shape economically. He can afford to waste the odd unit. While Yui has to be very careful, he has to be very cost effective. Once again pushing in, while at the same time Dimon doing huge amounts of damage to his main base, picking off the 3rd refinery, picking off the turret, and picking off the outpost.
And the Apollo fire as well. I do not like this position that Yui now finds himself in. Imperial infantry are going to push from the front. The combo of Tengu Striker and the Sleeper Ambush are going to push from the back. Shogun battleships cleaning up the water. I don't think Yui can win this.
I don't know if he can hold this. No, he can't. He can't hold his main base and at the front. The front is going to be hard enough to hold as it is.
He can hold the front
He's got nothing to defend his MCV.
But he has nothing to defend his base. He's going to win the front line, but he's going to lose the base.
His MCV's gone down.
The front line doesn't matter if you don't have a base. That's going to be it.
His infrastructure is completely undefended.
He has toppled Yui.
Yui has been defeated.
GG, well played to both of these players. Gotta say, I think Dimon, he lived up to the hype on his Empire play.
Well, definitely. There's no question about that. You can see that his micro was just completely on point. Generally, Soviet players need to have a certain level of micro to be in with any chance of getting at a decent level, and transferring that micro over to Empire with their insane micro opportunities and possibilities, that just shows how much can be done, and he just took advantage of all of it.
Oh, yes, indeed. And Ecos were actually surprisingly even that game. Actually, Dimon was slightly ahead, ever so slightly, for a lot of that game. Even though Yui actually took a lot of economic initiatives first, that just constant harassment out on the water, I'd wager around maybe 8 or 9 prospectors going down that game just from that one refinery.
Yeah.
Either from Yari mini sub harass or from the Tengus or from something or another. Just it seems like every time I looked over there, Yui had to rebuild it because some harass came in again and took it out.
That's the entire risk with going for the refinery without any defense to start with. Selling that naval yard did leave his naval refinery completely vulnerable for a very large portion of the game, and it meant that he struggled to hold that for the entire game onwards. A little bit of defense, maybe a naval yard, maybe just a couple of a naval yard would probably be enough, just with a couple of riptides to defend and just fend off the RV mini subs. But on its own, just turrets. You can find a way around the side and round the back to a sweet spot where you can constantly do damage.
Yes, indeed you can. If you're going to defend a naval refinery like that with just static defense structures, you want your higher level base defenses so that it can actually shoot submerged units before they get in close enough to do the kinds of damage. But of course, no defense bureau ever came down, so Spectrum towers weren't really an option. So a seaport just lined up right alongside that ref. That would have been the best possible option, is you could produce defensive units right there to respond to any sort of harassment that came in, as well as get free repairs on that prospector while it's still working the mining route.
Yes, but just looking at the game, that game was, how long was that game? That
was just shy of
25 minute game, and the economy was pretty close. It was very, very even. It just shows how close this game was.
Oh, indeed. That was a very, very close game. About 128,000 to 133,000 in favor of Dimon on the Ecos. Not the greatest discrepancy that I've ever seen, but I would honestly attribute Dimon's Eco lead at the end of that game just to the sheer amount of harassment that he got done. Just how many times, like including the naval expansion, how many times did the prospectors in the main go down? And the prospect on the cliff went down once or twice. Once when that infantry push, the first infantry push from Dimon came in.
Yes, but it did seem like as soon as Dimon managed to hold that initial huge push on his main base, there wasn't really a huge amount of pressure coming in from his side, and he just managed to capitalize on that, keeping the pressure, keeping the attention on Yui's side of the map, and just doing whatever he felt in his main base.
Absolutely. Well, that was a very good game between both of these players. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you have enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.